Good morning, scholars. It's Mr. M. It's Saturday morning. I'm here at Starbucks and I want to go over complex sentences with you all. So, a complex sentence has two different parts into it. It has a dependent clause and an independent clause. So, for us to be able to create complex sentences, we have to know what both of those things are, right? So, dependent clauses can't stand on their own, and they begin with a subordinating conjunction. What does that mean? Subordinating conjunctions are since, although, because, things that kind of need more assistance or more significance to give it meaning, right? Independent clauses can stand alone. They pretty much, if you give me a sentence that's an independent clause, I'll understand everything you're telling me because it contains a subject and a predicate. My subject being the who, my predicate being the action. To create a complex sentence, you're going to either start with an independent clause or a dependent clause, depending on how you want to create the sentence. However, there's a rule. When a complex sentence starts with a dependent clause, you have to use a comma to separate the dependent clause and the independent clause. I'll let you know what that means right now. I want to show you this example. Since I was cold, I grabbed the blanket. Now, as you can see, I labeled these. My subordinating conjunction is since. Since I know that a dependent clause starts with a subordinating conjunction, I know that since I was cold is a dependent clause. Notice how we use a comma. Remember the rule was when we start a complex sentence with a dependent clause, we have to use a comma to separate the dependent clause and independent clause. So since I was cold is my dependent clause. I have my beautiful comma here, and then I grabbed the blanket. My independent clause here is I grabbed the blanket. Because it contains a subject and predicate. My subject, I. What was the action? Grab the blanket, right? So again, notice how the comma separates both of these different clauses. But what if you want to start with the independent clause? No worries, you can do that. I grabbed the blanket since I was cold. So I grabbed the blanket. Remember previously we identified that as our independent clause. I grabbed the blanket since I was cold. We identified that as our dependent clause. But notice how there's no comma in between these two. Remember that for a complex sentence, if you want to start with an independent clause, there's no need for a comma. The only time we use a comma is when we have a dependent clause beginning that complex sentence. Now let me just put this here. If you want to pause it, record it, screenshot it, whatever you want to do. But hopefully that helps you all out a little bit. Hopefully that gives you more information. If you have more questions, let me know. Send me a message on Instagram or send me a message on Remind or Class Dojo. Hopefully you all have an awesome, amazing, restful weekend, and you guys, I'll see you on Monday. All right, see ya.